she really made Michelle Obama's words, when they go low, we go high. She really,
but every time it happens, we still get surprised.
We are the epitome of Black female love.
It's easy for us as Black women to hold up the banner and the cause for everyone else. But again, who holds up the banner and the cause for us? What role does the church play in all of this stuff?
Even in the midst of oppression, even in the midst of adversity and tribulation, there still is a God.
Bring awareness and making sure that we're on the front line rather than waiting for somebody to do something. Okay, what is it? Around the corner in the dark, waiting to see what someone else is going to do. No, as the Black church are perpetuating the same behavior as a patriarchal evangelicals have been doing.
Right. And guess what? But it's a lot of times it is the Black women who bring us down more, or push or try to
discourage. But it's the sisters in the congregation.
Woo! Hey, ladies! Woo!
Oh.
How's everybody? Let me see. Anybody do the Easter Bunny hop this weekend? Anybody?
Because I don't believe the bunnies can lay eggs.
Well, that's the whole reason they got the hop. They can't get it out of them.
Is that why they need so many?
We had church live this past Sunday for the first time since COVID.
Did you notice how? Did you notice how Wallace just skated over that? Come on, Wallace!
It's multitasking.
You do that? That's a good thing.
Oh, wait. Did you try to throw shade with your pink on today?
What does that pink actually mean?
To God be the
glory. Sing.
Yes.
So what was that like, Wallace? Going back into the Sanctuary Live on Sunday.
We had a huge crowd. People wore masks, but it was good. I miss in-person church. I really do.
Okay. So that was good. Was it well attended?
Oh, that's what I said. We had a huge crowd. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Pastor said that we probably will do once a month until this COVID new variant kind of wears down a little bit. So that because people do miss the communal and getting together.
Okay. All right, let us kind of see for those of you all online. Have you all been going to church, or did your church just open for the first time on Sunday? Let us kind of hear from you all. How about you, Bradford? How was service for you all on Sunday?
Absolutely wonderful. We've been in person for quite a while now.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Two years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't stay out long. Thank you, Lord. Yeah. And God has been faithful and blessed.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah. What about you, Ray?
We have been in since for probably 2 years, October, when COVID first started. And we just practiced the protocol, the temperature taking, the sign-in sheet, hand cleansing, wiping things down, doing those protective things. And by the grace of God, we haven't had any issues, which I'm very grateful for. And so we continue to come together, and it seemed like it was been hard on people not being able to come in and fellowship, and not being able to get that, I'll say that healthy mix.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Wallace, did you hear what she just said?
Yeah. Because
Over here, but okay.
right,
No,
because
no.
I was just right. Thank you, Bradford, because I was just about to say to Wallace, come on, our mental health specialist on
Yeah,
here.
no.
What I mean, pick up in regard to that. My goodness. So you're saying right, and I think it was something I also noticed with my people. You know, at the top of the pandemic, is that the only kind of human interaction that they really had, that some of my people really had, was at church.
Mhm.
And that when that got taken away, they now are isolated. What is that? Wallace, that kind of effect on the mind in regard to that?
Well, I get isolation is a huge mental health concern, um, because we sometimes isolate ourselves from being around people, but we need community. We need to be with others. No one is an island. We all need each other. So um, it's unfortunate, especially for our elders who don't get a lot of daily interaction. Their church is where they get that interaction. So it's important. I'll say it is very, very important. But it's also important that we find other ways to stay connected. I think some people are tired of Zoom, but
Zoom fatigue.
and Zoom and StreamYard and all of those things are still really, really, really good of
That's a
ways
question
to
though.
stay connected with people.
Well,
We finding that we have to teach our elders how, and sometimes intergenerational help is helpful for intergenerational folks to help them with that technology.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. Are you
Okay.
finding that during the pandemic or post-pandemic, well, we're still in the pandemic per se, but
Absolutely.
somewhat post-pandemic, are you finding that the interaction is distant and irregular in some form? Or are you finding people wanting to do more interaction or interacting rather?
I
Or is
think
it
it's
awkward
slowing.
interaction?
There is some slowing of
Mhm.
people moving back into full gear of interaction.
Mhm.
In some places more than others, that Omicron variant is high.
Mhm.
Georgia is one of those places. So people, while the governor says you don't have to wear mask, the CDC still says you really need to wear a mask. Um,
Come on,
so
Texas.
people are still cautious and distant, I would say.
So you say that, and there's a couple of things, and I guess I want to say one I want to refer to something that I heard in that in my noonday Bible study. Two things, and they're not really the same thing, but they are dealing with what we're talking about. One is that one of my persons in noonday study today said, I found out through COVID that I really do like my husband and my children.
Yeah.
Right. Before I've been so busy and I was going
Yeah.
that I knew that I loved them, but I found out I really kind of do like them.
Yeah.
Now the other part, and so speak about that. And then the other part of this is talking about COVID. We say that the government says we don't need masks and things of that sort. Your governor Kemp hadn't been like what we've experienced in Texas at all. And
Yeah.
but I was at a conference this weekend, and it said that there's still that Black people are hospitalized 4 to 1 to white persons,
Yes.
and yet only, and then our death rate is in, I think, 3 to 1, but only 54% of us have had at least one shot.
Vaccine.
Wow.
That's sad.
Those numbers don't add up. I mean, think about that. We're 3 times as more to be hospitalized, but we are not being vaccinated as much. Are you? Come on.
But let me
Black
say
folk, Black people, let me just do a PSA right now. Get vaccinated, please.
Please.
Yes.
Please.
We need you in our community. Please get vaccinated.
Yes.
But a lot of that comes from being informed on things that really don't validate us, that we don't need to be informed about. We need to be informed about the right things. And I believe that they have done their due diligence in telling people the effects. Someone told me the other day that he didn't wear a mask because it was all a hoax. I said, could you please wake all them folks up at the cemetery and tell them this is just a hoax? Y'all get them. They was
okay. And let me add to this, because I'm surrounded with some really intelligent, and when I say intelligent, I mean like book smart, just degreed young adults and stuff that are around me. And there's this one couple that, you know, they're working on trying to have a baby, and this guy with this engineering degree says, no, I'm not gonna get the vaccine because I heard that, you know, that it makes us sterile. But yet, okay, we got this other side. We got Tucker Carlson, is it, over on Fox News, pushing all of the machoism and telling men to microwave their private parts because it strengthens them.
Yes.
And folks will, yes.
It comes off.
And there we go. People are following this kind of advice.
That's the same stuff as drinking bleach. You'll be COVID free. Come on. No, that's you.
That's awful. That's really, really awful. That people think crazy stuff like that. And that they promote it. That's
no. I'm gonna tell you what's awful. What's awful is the stupid people that believe them and do it.
That's true.
But this is the thing. You're only saying the stupid people who believe them and do it. But when there are millions of persons that are following the show, then that more than likely, then there's somebody who's sitting next to you in church, 6 feet apart, with a mask on or not, that believes it, right? Mm-hmm. Because and when we say this, there has to be a level of belief when there's 54% of African Americans who are not vaccinated, but we are dying 3-1 and hospitalized 4-1. And so when we're talking about folk who don't believe it, I mean, look at the numbers for us, right?
And I have no solution for that, because the correct information is being also given, and people choose what they want to do and believe. It's unfortunate that we have people that believe craziness and will not read.
Okay. While we're on this, we're gonna move. But someone said, I'm tired of the FDA ain't got nothing else to say to me. I ain't believe nothing the FDA say. And somebody said, well, tell me, what does the FDA stand for?
I don't know.
Please, no.
Tell me they were able to tell you. Tell me they were able to tell you. Oh my God. And then they say they don't believe them because they don't even know what it means. Lord have mercy.
So what you don't believe but you don't really know what it means or what it stands for. Not only do you not know what the acronym stands for, you don't really know what they stand for.
Right.
Come on.
Stupid people.
It is their job.
Now listen, that Dr. Collins says, not vaccinated and surprised when they test positive with a deer in headlights. Come on, with that deer in headlights. Look. What do you mean I have COVID? Wait a minute, you're not even vaccinated. Not all. I have COVID. What? Or they'll tell other people, no, I got pneumonia. No, you got. You
All
have
right,
COVID.
all I say is don't sneeze around me. Okay, don't sneeze. If water ain't gonna help. Okay,
Well, you had
ladies,
that issue before COVID came out, but keep going.
okay, so ladies, okay, my apologies because I don't think we talked. We said that we were gonna we threw this out as what we wanted to talk about, but abortion. Okay, I want to throw that out. Abortion. All right, because I believe that DeSantis in Florida. Okay, we already know what hopefully you all know what Abbott has done here in Texas, but with DeSantis in Florida just signed an abortion bill that bans abortions, I believe, at 15 weeks, and it does not include stipulations for mother's health, for incest, or for rape.
Again, I say,
They go ahead.
you do not get to choose what I can do with my body.
That's right.
My God.
That's right. You cannot legislate that.
Anglo-American men cannot choose what I do with my body. Come on. Give me a
And
break.
the only reason they're doing that, Bradford, the only reason that they're doing that is because they know in 10 years, they will be the minority and they want white folk to have as many babies as possible.
So wait a minute, you mean they're not concerned about our little black babies?
They don't care how many abortions people of color get. They only really care about white folk getting abortion.
You said something there, Wallace. You said something there because I was reading an article about the minority in I think they said 12 years. Minority, okay. So you put all these laws in place to keep all of these other folk from having abortions. So look at Dr. Robinson. Okay.
Yes.
These
So
legislators.
it doesn't matter what we do, where we go, just long as they keep having babies. It doesn't matter the reason you're going to get it. You just need to keep having babies.
Right. That's what they want. But guess what? They are afraid of losing power. That's all patriarchy is concerned about is power.
So you're saying that these governors that signing this legislation, that are you trying to say that they're not really doing it because last week, Wallace, you were loving the evangelicals. So are you saying that they're signing this because not because of the just basic Bible evangelical love for Jesus and
do you want me to use some Peter language or Jesus language when Jesus turned over the chairs and tables in the temple? The only reason, in my opinion, that they are so concerned about abortions, and they've been concerned about abortions for the last 40 years. They didn't just get concerned. They've been concerned, and they have been putting as many roadblocks as possible. And every time their roadblocks don't work, because white folk have money to cross state lines, they leave and go to another state to get the abortion that they want.
You do know it's been 52 years. You do know that. Are you kidding me? Yes.
That's right. It didn't just start.
No.
They just get the laws get crazier and crazier with each legislator.
And I guess this is a part that kind of confuses me. All right, that consistently, we still have to rally up people to get to the polls to get them to vote. But yet, when there are times like this, we'll begin to hear pockets of people who want to show up now at the Capitol or show up at their various legislators to kind of fight this.
Yeah.
But are we still so naive to not understand that when we don't vote in these local and state elections, that these are the places that affect us most physically. These are the places.
Most.
Yeah. And so to see folk, now, that they're trying to march here, march there. I'm like, but did you show up at the poll?
You're marching.
Yeah.
You're marching, but
do-
you ain't voting, and then you're
Right.
surprised at the outcome.
But
Yes.
most of them that's fussing about abortion are Republicans.
Hmm.
They're the ones fighting against it. They're the ones that don't vote for equal rights. They trying to suppress people from voting. It's the same one. It's the same people.
Mhm.
Girl,
What
Robinson,
is
you are
what's
on
saying
it.
here? What is she saying here?
My
She
God,
said when
today.
you
I
don't
gotta-
honor women in general, male lawmaking, but not law-abiding legislation is misogyny. Right?
See, you need to read
Okay,
that slogan.
okay.
And that's the
Come on,
truth.
come on, Robinson. Come on,
You need
attorney.
to read that
Come
slogan.
on,
It says
attorney.
Robinson, I'm about to send you a link,
lawmaking,
Robinson.
but
Come
not
on and join us.
law-abiding.
Yes.
Girl.
That's right. She's right. Because the
And
law
it's
only
really
applies
sad.
to other folk. It don't apply to them that write the law. And
No.
the big part of it is they can't have an abortion, those that's making these laws.
Oh, what?
That's the truth right there.
Sips tea.
But again, these are
it's-
the same sick people that want to lower the age for sex with the young girls. It's the same, they say they want to lower the legal age of marriage. What can I do with a 10-year-old boy? Not a darn thing, but be mad. It's ridiculous that it's kind of like that snake, you know? That snake just eases his way on in there, but the whole time he moving and gyrating with the group till he gets just what he wants. And everybody thinks that it's okay. It's not okay. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was right. I was surprised. I shouldn't say surprised, but hurt to hear about them changing the laws for men to marry younger girls.
Oh my God.
What? Wait a minute. I missed that one. Where did that happen?
That's been quite some time ago. They've been fighting for that. Trying
Different
to
states are, yeah.
yes, because they want to be with little girls. Nasty old men want to be with innocent young girls, and I do mean nasty.
You're right. You using the right words, right?
Absolutely. There ain't nothing but a child.
But the reason is, but the reason is they have a little girl, then that little girl doesn't know that he
They
really
wanna
ain't
kill
doing nothing and ain't got nothing.
But that, you know what? I watched.
Wait.
sometimes.
Right. We right. Do we need to pray Burns right now? Do we need to pray Burns right now? Because what you just said, I think most folk just missed it. Lord have mercy. Girl, 10 years. Did y'all hear what she said? I need you to take it slow.
What Robinson say? Right, Robinson, I just sent you a link. Come on backstage.
Come on stage, girl. Come on in the room, baby.
Yeah, come on in the room. Yes. Yeah.
He said, content warning, they lowered the age of marriage in order to enshrine their belief of masculinity and to legalize what they are already doing.
Right.
Sexual assault of minors who cannot consent. And
That's
they're
right.
like, they are already doing it. That's why
They
you got
are-
all
that's
these
true.
crazy folks
I mean,
in
it's already
Utah.
done.
That's
Right, whoever
that's
that-
all it is.
that-
And
this
that's
is
what
the
the
pro-
Bible was really talking about when they talk about homosexuality. But we're not gonna go there today.
Oh, wait a minute. Wallace, I'm confused. I'm going to have to go back and watch last week because you were all with the evangelicals and Jesus going to save us and God is with the oppressed. I mean, you were now this week you coming
I didn't
back.
say, I don't remember them words at all. I
Okay,
know
that's all
I
right.
didn't say that.
So let me remember it for you. You just, I'm
Wait
remember.
a
I'm just-
minute. WAYMENT. Wait a minute. Chriselle says they travel to foreign countries to sleep with children.
Yeah, they
and,
do.
and they bring. Well, here's the thing: they also bring them over as
Yes,
if
they
they
do.
are
That's
adopting them.
trafficking. That is
Adopting
trafficking.
them, but then they use them for whatever. And that's
You know, and wait a minute. You say that, and that experience happened when I was doing the missions work, and we were going back and forth between Nigeria, probably about every 3 or 4 months, some years back. and so there were, I mean, these children are in an orphanage and all. And I remember that myself and a couple of others that we really were very serious in looking at adopting some of these children, education, bring them back. But at the time period when we were doing it, they had just finished what had just happened to such a large portion of children that had been, quote, adopted by Americans, that they found out that those children who were supposed to be given better education and all of these things, but they were actually taken over to be part of a slave trade. And because of that, they were not doing any more adoptions. And an orphanage is like any orphanage. You got children on top of children that were in there, but they were not doing that because, and at that point, Nigeria made a decision to say, we would rather protect our children in the orphanage. We know that's still not the best place for them, but it is better for them than for them to go over and be in America and be slaves for white America. Yeah.
So I was in Sierra Leone in 2014, and I was taking pictures of the children, and they were running from me. And so I asked the young lady, I said, "What's the matter?" And she says, "Well, they're frightened." And I said, so she went over and she started talking to him and asking him, and they said, "No, we don't want our pictures taken," because a missions group had been over there, dressed them up, taken pictures of them, fed them, and then left with who they wanted to leave with.
Yeah.
And they said, all she's going to do is put us in a book and make fun of us.
Yeah.
Oh.
Horrible. Horrible. And you're talking
about Cheryl is saying, I know of 2 young girls who were adopted by a white woman. When things did not go the way she thought, she gave them back to CPS. They have now been readopted by friends of ours. That's sad.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's a blessed story. That doesn't happen often.
Oh, yeah.
That's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
Listen, it says the ages of consent were raised across the U.S. during the late 19th century and the early 20th century. By 1920, 26 states had an age of consent at 16. 21 states had an age of consent at 18. And one state, Georgia, had an age of consent at 14.
And we won't say nothing, because when we talk about ministers, and I know that that's something that you mentioned backstage as well, Dr. Wright, that we are familiar with, that there's some in this gospel land that groom folk until they know they get to that age of consent.
Absolutely.
And we do know of instances, especially in Georgia, where that happened. What were you saying to us backstage about that, Dr. Wright? Let our audience hear this.
So I was having a conversation with some friends, and it was just very disturbing as they began to ask me, was I aware of some things that were happening? And by the end of the conversation, they had named 4 large ministries within our state that are struggling with issues of adultery, infidelity, and just being unethical in their practice of leadership. And so it's heartbreaking to hear, but how do we cover all the bases? What needs to happen? What needs to happen with us as a church or as people of God and don't get it twisted now, because I'm finding out that my version of restoration is a little different than some other folks, because their version is smack them on the hand and put them right back in the pulpit. My version is there needs to be a sit down time. There needs to be a counseling time. At least
they need some jail time. JAIL jail time is what they need.
So, you know what to do? Yes, ma'am. You're right. That too. But go ahead.
Okay. So while it's, because I want to hear your clinical perspective, but as you get at the clinical perspective, talking about jail time, that what needs to happen, I'll never forget being a young preacher, coming up, wasn't ordained yet, but was licensed to preach. and there was a woman in my area that who was ordained, but had become pregnant. Okay, I watched in this meeting where she was defrauded.
Yeah.
But the person who got her pregnant was actually one of the elders in the church. And nothing was said, and that individual retired. Okay, I mean years and years later. And so when you talk about, I really want to hear from you from this perspective, but also want to hear from you in your perspective, if you're able to, from that woman's perspective, how though does it also differ for us as women compared to when men do these same kinds of things?
Ooh, good question.
We are persecuted as women for minor infractions. Serious infractions, many times men are, as Wright would say, slapped on the head and allowed to go back. Wrong. That's wrong. I'm fearful, or not. Well, I don't know. It's going to come a time when Me Too is really going to get into the Black church. When Me Too comes to the Black church, we won't have church. Ain't nobody going to be in church. Because how often have girls and boys been abused by people in authority that call themselves ministers and pastors and leaders?
Many, because we have allowed or we have some parents have put those people on pedestals. We have misquoted or misused. I won't say misquoted. They've misused the scripture. Obey those that have rule over you, honor, and we've taken advantage of people in the space that they're in. Even with, I mean, it's like a gang mentality, because what do gangs do? Gangs look for the one that's set aside by themselves, that nobody
isolated,
putting any attention on. And that's the one that ends up getting sucked into the gang, because now we have family. So the same way with some of those that are in leadership, they come with the pretense of, I'm your friend, and you can't trust nobody but me. And by the end of it, the folks don't even trust their parents, or they don't trust the people that they need to trust. And many years ago,
oh Lord, come on, Jackson, come on
here,
come on.
We act as if this is new. This happened in the Bible. You bring out the woman and you cover the man.
Right.
Absolutely.
But the Bible is full of patriarchy.
Listen,
that's all it's about. It's patriarchy.
That's what the colonizers wanted you to hear.
Come on, Jackson. I always thought the quickest way for a man to be promoted is to have a child out of wedlock or with a sock. My goodness, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. Hopefully, I won't go to Facebook jail again.
I
got 2 more days.
Hold on. Let me put my cash down. I'm gonna need some money to get you out.
I got two more days, and I can go live again. When we look at women and leadership and men in leadership, we see, and I saw in some of the comments, there is a double standard. I don't care how a man lives. He could be Joe Blow, homeless on the street, but they rather have him as a pastor rather than a woman who is educated and doing something.
And the Black church is made up of who? Primarily, who is the Black church made up of?
Single mothers.
Y'all say I was bad on folk last week, but who is the predominant people in the Black church? Who?
Single mothers.
Thank you. And they think they want to look at a man. Unfortunately, they see him as their knight in shining armor.
Oh, that's good, Wallace. I remember
Ooh, Chris Sherrill right here.
Reverend Dr.
Pimps
Claudette
accepted, but
Copeland.
PhD females put out. Amen. Amen.
Oh,
Dr.
that's
McDaniel.
good, Chris Sherrill. I
Okay.
remember the
So
Reverend
this,
Dr. Claudette Copeland saying, when men are in the pulpit, they want to be able to bake them a pie. And she said, I eat too. Make me a pie. Girl, I was like,
No,
it just
the black woman has to be at the back and fix her own plate. She don't get to sit in the
girl.
seat of royalty at all. A lot of times. It's y'all. I know y'all were upset with me last week, but until we
Listen.
as women say no, it's enough, and we tie up those purse strings, the brothers ain't gonna do no better.
so apparently this
First
Facebook
string.
user is Irie Sessions, and so someone want to read this. What it is that Dr. Sessions has said.
Oh, she said, I got stories from former prostituted women about church men, preachers, and deacons who picked them up in their cars with gospel music playing. Well, honey, listen. It is the truth.
It is. It's
Well,
sad.
I was returning from Africa one year, and we were standing at the baggage claim, and a certain group had come to our city for their national convention. And gentleman next to me asked me, was I coming in or where was I coming from? And I said, well, I'm coming home. Oh, you're from here? Yes, I'm from here. And so he says, oh, well, we're here for the convention. And so as we're standing outside waiting to get on the bus to go for transportation, he says, so where do y'all party at? I turned and I looked at him. I said, are y'all coming here to party? So then we had a couple in our church that owned their own transportation business, and they had been contracted to transport people back and forth from the airport to the hotels. And they said that they had a man that said, where's the booty clubs at? That's where we want to go. And the man said, I beg your pardon. He said, I thought I was with the wrong group. It's so sad that you got to go out of town to change your character.
They love coming to Atlanta and on the Atlantic City. You can find them now. They Benz and Mercedes and Rolls Royces and everything else at Atlantic City.
Wow.
You said Atlantic. How about Atlanta? Atlanta.
In Atlanta. That's called Atlantic City.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Sessions said the women in the previous church I pastored would not make my plate. One of the brothers noticed it, and from that day on, he made it his business to see that I always had a plate. Come on now.
Wow.
I think
he must not have been married.
Magic City. Yeah, I think it's just the mindset.
Yeah, Magic City. That's what it's called. I said Atlantic.
Wait a minute.
The narrative.
Chris Sherrill.
Thank you, Chris Shelder. I see. You know how much I know.
Oh wow. That's sad. I had no. Oh Lord, have mercy. Wait, she said.
See what I'm talking about? That's what I'm talking about. Special seating.
Oh help, Lord.
Oh yes.
So how are we going to? Well, I guess no respect to person, but man, people are not going to trust the church because of the behavior of the pastors, the preachers, deacons, whatever, right? Lord have mercy. And there's a secret entrance, Jackson, Lord. Okay.
This is not the time that people need to be turning away from God.
Okay, so I have one more example. One more thing I want to say. So we're talking about this, and in a particular city where I pastored once, that the pastor had his side piece, right? And so she decided that she was coming to church on one of the biggest Sundays, right? She came, right? And came and down the center aisle.
All righty then.
And announced, okay. Now understand his wife was in the first lady seat. Okay. And so she announced he's stopping service and announced, what was their affair and all that done and everything else. Well, now if that had been a woman that had happened to, then she wouldn't have been able to come to the church the next Sunday. All right, she wouldn't. The doors would have been locked. Everything would have been taken. Well, it has gone on. What happened? It happened that Sunday. There was no sitting down of him. His wife, divorced, right? And all the folk rallied around the pastor to support him. And so I had a former member who family, they went over there, and I had an opportunity to ask the spouse of former member who went to join. I said, now tell me this. I said, I want to know this from your husband. I said, if I, as his pastor, had that happen to me, would you all still be sitting under my leadership?
What was
and so finally asked him, and his response was, that's something to think about.
God. And they not immediately say yes or no. Something to think about.
But the pastor is
they
still
really
there.
wanted to say no, but they wanted to put it off a little while before they said no.
Hesitated.
Ridiculous.
But the pastor is still there, divorced, and still pastoring a large congregation. Can I use this? Miss me with that. Okay. All right. I digress. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I think it's a travesty. We really
and I don't think it's that I'm asking women to police other. I'm asking women to stand up for what's right, and oftentimes we will take a back seat when it's a woman that's the pastor and will not speak up for her, rather than speaking up for what's right. And I'm just calling as a womanist. I'm calling my sisters to responsibility, to stand up for what's right. Period. And if these men, they need to tie them purse strings up and stop coming to church or go somewhere else where it is not happening. That it's awful that we keep supporting this craziness. This is awful.
Yeah, I don't understand. And Reverend Regina Reese Young says, facing so many challenges, how do you as female pastors or leaders pick your battles? That's a very good question.
Well, that's one we need to pick if we're talking about
yes,
people abusing their power. That's a battle worth fighting, in my mind.
But if you don't stand for something, you're gonna fall for anything. And you have people that have been in church and practiced their foolishness for so long. If you don't make a decision, you're gonna be just like them lepers. One of them said, "Should we go in?" The other one said, "No, we better not go in." The other one said, they said they'll kill us if we go in. Not to make a decision is the same thing as making a decision. Mm-hmm. So if you don't speak
up, making a decision is a decision. That exactly. Is a decision.
So if you don't speak up, the madness is going to continue.
Absolutely. But what about people who think that they've been taught that if they speak up, and especially if this is happening from the pulpit for them, if they speak up, then now they're, quote, speaking against God. And if they speak against God, now God is going to punish them for speaking up against it. I mean, because there are many people who've been taught like that.
We have got to give them the truth.
But it's
that is not just the man in the pulpit is not God. That's number one.
Absolutely.
Let me share this with you. God. Let me share this.
And we have got to teach them differently.
Yeah, change the narrative. But let me share this. There was a woman appointed to a church, and They lock the doors on the woman.
I heard that too.
We don't want a woman pastor.
Wow.
In 2022.
Let that sink in.
2022.
Foolishness.
Yeah, it got quiet in the house, didn't it?
Foolish.
These are, Chris Cheryl says, these are folks that don't read their Bibles for themselves and have been taught this by the very man molesting the girls in the church.
Absolutely.
These are the same folks that want my gift, but not my presence. Will put me on the floor, but not in the pulpit. I will not be there with my gifts nor my coins.
Well, the blessed thing about COVID right now is, and the blessed thing about social media is that you can get more than
Charlotte Black says, we have been our own worst enemy because Black women have accepted this behavior and sometimes encouragement. Some want to see themselves in the wife's place, knowing the pastor not going to leave his wife.
That's true.
That's in regular life.
That's true.
That's a fantasy world.
You are the side piece, and you will continue to be the side piece. And even if you become the main piece, you're still going to be the side piece because you're going to always wonder who is next.
Right.
So
and this is Dr. Sessions right here.
Black church women have been thoroughly indoctrinated bad theology. Many have been taught to revere the scriptural interpretation of their Black male preachers. So they will never stop giving to a church, not even one that oppressed them, because they believe it's a sin against God.
That's the problem.
Wait.
That is the problem. And beliefs are hard to change. That's the problem.
And
you can't argue with folk about their beliefs.
And so we keep paying into a system that oppresses us
and doesn't value us.
And that doesn't value, right?
Yes.
That will use us, manipulate us, right? Not empower us.
Ooh.
But we keep paying into that system in the name of Jesus.
And you know what? Just in all fairness, we're not coming in and just bashing all men, because there are some men who have integrity.
I've not heard us say that at all.
But
no.
Then there's that elect group that just wants to be sidetracked in every way, form, or fashion. And I
really don't believe they're the majority. I don't think they're the majority.
But let me say this: there are also some female pastors that have. Come on now, they have misused their authority as well.
Some of y'all just mean. Some of y'all women pastors, y'all just mean. Okay, you're just mean
for no reason.
For no reason, you're just mean.
That's not being mean, it's being deep. You just need to look like death going somewhere to happen to be deep.
Huh?
We need to start calling a spade.
I got this question. So if they being deep, what they being deep in?
Manure. Wallace, don't say it. Just say manure. Manure.
I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to respond. I can type an S.
But that's what people believe.
Let me see here.
Yeah, but it's true that I've found that though that there are more women pastors and leaders, that their abuse is them trying to now prove their self-worth as being equal to their male counterparts, and in doing that, they now inflict the same kind of abuse, but do it mentally to you. You know, it might not necessarily be a sexual abuse.
It doesn't matter whether it's men or women. Dysfunction is dysfunction.
It's dysfunction, and so now if you get women who now have this opportunity to be your leader, but if they are not comfortable in themselves, right? Then now what happens? So now
we just perpetuate. But you do know you do know that crazy folk are called to service, and
Mhm.
most of them are called to ministry.
Mm.
The
Hold on.
issue
You will
becomes,
not, you will,
the
no,
issue
no, you will
becomes
not,
we
you
have
will
to
not,
get
no,
healthy.
I ain't gonna, no, Wallace, I
Yeah,
ain't gonna
that's
let you
true.
do that one now. Because
Those are the statistics.
Wallace, you was hanging out with the evangelicals. Now you swinging back
But
around.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's correct. I'm just saying that on an average, people who are called to service, I believe the reason they're called is so they can get some help to become functional and not dysfunctional.
Okay, let
However,
me first raise my hand. That ain't why I answer the call to service. Okay, so let me speak for me.
Listen,
You
if I had a
did not want to
choice,
serve. You did not want to serve God. That was not why you called me. Why were you calling me?
For me, I don't know what y'all do over there on that Baptist side. Okay, but let me raise my hand for me up in here. All right.
You were not called to ministry because you wanted to serve.
No. It's that equal part of the equation. So you only saying one half of the equation. I'm talking about that other half of the equation that is not equal for me. Go ahead, Dr. Bradford. Wallace need to drink some tea for me.
Help me. I don't understand what you're not accept. What?
If I had a choice,
me.
Do you honestly think I would be in ministry, serving as a pastor?
Hey.
Come on. If I had a choice.
How you doing, Dr. Sessions?
Baby. Come on.
Unmute.
Y'all are on fire today. I done thrown every shoe I had in the closet at this screen. Oh my God. I'm sorry, I interrupted somebody. Well, who was saying what?
No, you are right. What I'm saying is,
I agree with Bradford. I didn't want this either.
It has to be a calling, because if it was not a calling, nobody in their right mind would put themselves through the madness, the craziness that you have to go through in ministry. It has to be a true calling. I thank God for the calling. I thank God for serving. But baby, ain't nobody in their right mind.
Bradford, you are healthy. Yes. You are a healthy, anointed preacher. There's a bunch of them out there that don't know they need help and have not gone to get the help.
They got Jesus, and that's enough.
Help! I'm gonna mute myself.
No, go to mute, Burns. That's what we need to do.
Well, you know, that's part of the indoctrination, right? That's part of the patriarchy and the internalized patriarchy to keep us ignorant of truth, right? To keep us from getting the help that we need. So you demonize therapy, you demonize medication. You know, they're told, we're told, all you got to do is just pray, you know. And so that's part of that, trying to control the Black woman and just women, period, right? And insanity. So, yeah, and that's why I said in my post that we have been thoroughly indoctrinated.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. And it's
thoroughly brainwashed.
Yes. Continually brainwashed.
Is that what they call institutionalized trauma?
Ooh.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Is that what they call institutionalized trauma?
Institutionalized, internalized. It's two
internalized.
Institutionalized and internalized.
And internalized. That's right. Because you gotta believe it for it to impact you.
Yeah.
That's right.
But that's why
at least let's try it. Let me see if it'll work.
If you show any type of if you're trying to get any type of help for yourself, then they tell you how anointed, how special, how wonderful you are, and it don't take all that, baby. You just need to spend some alone time with God. And while you're spending your alone time with God, they try to be alone with you too.
Yeah.
Here, listen. That's the same.
And I would say, I would say it's it's those pastors that are not theologically trained, but then that would be a lie. Because
they get
Yeah.
trained and go back and do the same thing they used to do. They are trained in seminary to use inclusive language. The moment they get out of seminary, it goes right back to what they've been doing, patriarchal language all the time.
That's right. That's right. And you don't have to be a man. And I think one of you all said this earlier, that you don't have to be a man to be patriarchal.
No,
right?
That's right.
Because you still perpetuate that same behavior.
That's
Come
right.
on.
That's right.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I get, and you know what I hear? It's almost as if when you're worshiping, it's the same thing, Red. Let me say it that way. When you're worshiping and getting delivered and getting your breakthrough, someone looks at you and say, "It don't take all that." Boo, you don't know what it takes
What it took
for me to get my breakthrough. So
That's
if it's
right.
therapy, if it's talking
That's
to
right.
someone, if it's prayer, if it's connecting, reading, whatever I got to do to get my breakthrough, you best believe I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get
And I
yourself
don't need-
together and talk to somebody.
Absolutely.
And I know the message was good, and I know I preached hard, but I don't need no shoulder rub.
Dr. Wright just ain't taking no prisoners today. She letting y'all have it.
You right, Dr. Wright. You right.
Good. Look,
But you
Lord
know,
have mercy.
sisters, that's why this platform is so vital. I was thinking that as I was listening to you all have had so many subjects and topics today, just in this 1 hour. But for the sisters out here, right, to hear all of these different topics that you've been addressing that we've all been through, and many of us have been through these things in isolation and thinking it was just us, but to hear you all lay this stuff out, I mean, from abortion to sexual abuse in the church, I mean, y'all have dealt with it all just today.
Wow.
It's so important for women to hear. You clergy women, you
Listen.
Black clergy women talking this talk and telling the truth, right? That man, y'all just, I know you gotta understand. You gotta understand how important
I'm
this is.
just grateful. I'm just
Come on in the
grateful.
room.
Let me ask this question.
Yes, come on, Dr. Farrell. It's been a good day, but unfortunately for me, I have pain too, because the very people who need to hear what we're saying oftentimes are not in place to hear it. That's what pains me. And if you, I got the scars on my back where I was told I could not be ordained, and the women were against me. The women were against me. And in the Baptist church, unfortunately, that has been a lot of folks' story.
Yeah, well, no, baby, not just in the Baptist church.
That's right.
I'm sorry. That's not an isolated incident. But what I want to ask this question though. How do the women who have been scarred, burned, get the help they need from other clergy women? Because what I am
from Dr. Kelly Farrell, give her some.
Come on in the room, baby. Hey, Kelly, how you doing, Farrell?
Hi, Dr. Sessions. How are you?
Hey.
So y'all reset the room for me. What exactly? Where y'all talking about? Like what?
Everywhere.
Okay, so tell me the question. Say the question one more time, Dr. Giles.
How do clergy women who have been scarred and burned, and not just hit in the back, in the front, wherever it is, get the help from other clergy women that have experienced the same thing? How do they get the help? Because most women who are in clergy will not tell you that they've been scarred, burned. They will hide it, mask it, and look pretty, put makeup on, and still hurting.
Yeah.
How do we help each other?
Well, for me, so most of you guys know that I'm very communal, right? So you find your like-minded community. for the sake of not being too provocative, the hell with them, because some of them are going to be, y'all already know, like, y'all already know the mean-spirited girls, like the mean girls to themselves, they gonna be out there. You listen, this is technology. You're gonna have sorrow in the same place, sometime in the same container, all the time. We call it bittersweetness, right? Because just because, listen, the absence of doubt doesn't mean that you don't have the presence of doubt doesn't mean you don't have faith.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Right? Those can be in the same container. The fact that you are courageous means that fear was probably present.
Yes.
And the reason why it's a courageous act is because you did it in spite of the fear.
Yeah,
So
you didn't let the fear hijack your faith.
That's right. So there are going to be people, women, men, haters, whatever you want to call them, expect them to be there. And find your community outside and around them, because they're not going to disappear. They are not. You're gonna know it. It's gonna hurt. I have been hurt by it. Circle Nation, we support women who have hurt by it. Dr. Wallace, it is more times the women than the men sometimes who say we can't do this and we can't do this. But what I tell Circle Nation is our voices have to be louder than that, because we are out here. We are out here supporting our fellow clergy sisters. We are out here showing up in these spaces, and there are more of us than there are not. We just don't hear our voices loud.
Yes. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Dr. But again, that's why spaces like this, Dr. Chalice Bradford, are so important, because as you're talking about how do we help those women who have been hurt, who have been wounded, who are keeping it to themselves, we do it by coming on shows like this and other social media platforms and telling our truth.
That's right.
Sharing our wounds.
Right.
And then when they see, oh, well, she shared hers. And like, the sky didn't fall.
Right.
She's still getting invited to places to preach and teach. Oh, okay. So maybe I fell for the okie doke, right?
Right.
That it was, you know what I'm saying? So we have to model it. We have to model it.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Sessions. I think I said that last week. We are the epitome of Black female love. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm so excited and I'm so thankful that we are the epitome of Black female love. We disagree with each other, but you better not mess with nobody else on this show and let me know. That's all I got to say.
Dr. Wallace,
I'm bringing my stuff with me.
Dr. Wallace, were you modeling it before or after you was lifting up the evangelicals?
All along in both containers, the same container.
Both
I'm not lifting up no evangelicals. I'm sorry. Y'all misunderstood. That was not what I was doing.
I thank God for this moment right here, where we're able to bring up our sisters on and just talk. But let me say this, I do get tired of parading or allowing the parade to invade my psyche.
That happens.
Yeah, that's good.
Because
that's good.
We have so many powerfully gifted women where we don't have to compete. There is so much work out here.
So much work.
There's so much work out here. We don't have to compete. Let us build each other up as we do. Let's continue to strengthen each other, show each other encouragement, show each other love. And hey, you know what? Let me say it like this. If you can't go, recommend your sister to go.
Right.
There it is.
Right.
If you can't do it, call a sister and say, I got somebody else who can go.
That's right.
Don't just say, no, I can't do it, and that's enough. Boo! You have some sisters in the room who can do it. So let's do it together.
That's right, Dr. Chalice. That's right. Like create opportunity. What I hear you saying is create opportunity for other women and other the ministry.
Yeah.
Listen, don't y'all have me so many things in my mind. However, because I'm trying to get them all at the same time because they're rushing to the top. But it's very important that because the other voices, they become part of the distraction too, like the anti so and so, and we tend to shift focus, and that shouldn't be the focus. That's why I say expect it to be there, right? Not necessarily anybody going to hell or anything. When I say to hell with them, I mean just ignore the distraction.
Right? A disclaimer.
Because I want to frame it right, because we just get sidetracked with a bunch of nonsense and foolishness that's not important. Me and my sister have a saying: keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah.
And what those are doing is not the main thing. What timely wisdom is doing is the main thing. Opportunities are created. What Dr. Sessions does is the main thing. Make more opportunity, open up spaces, bring your chair and an extra chair, invite us to come in. Yes, recommend someone who, if you can't preach it, I know Dr. Chalice, I know Drew London, like I know Dr. Sessions, and call a sister's name out loud in the universe and celebrate and cheer and show up and do all the things. We act ignorant when someone get a church. Y'all be seeing our timelines. We act up when one wins, because when one wins, we all win, because we want our team to win. Like that should be the echo. And so with timely wisdom and the spaces that you guys have created and that you open up, it does magnify. And so yes, Dr. Sessions and what you guys are saying, like we have to begin to model it. And this kind of conversation, let me tell you something right here. Example. Dr. Burns is now just famous in Circle Nation because he made sure we didn't look crazy last week with 7 last words, right? And I say that because I don't know what to do. They'd have been like a black screen if I was doing it. That's not my gift. But let me call a sister who has, and I know that she has that gift, and ask her to help. And don't be afraid to ask for help and ask her to help, because we are sometimes afraid. And I get it. Our heart been broken. We've been burned. But there is a woman or a man out there who will be like, sure, I'll help you. And then the collaboration of is magnanimous. It was a beautiful sight.
That's it. Collaboration. Yes.
Collaboration, partnership, loving on each other, support. Your gifts help my gifts. I can't hold a tune. I can sing with a choir, so don't ask me to sing no solo. But if you want me to sing together with you, I might sound good in blended harmony. You know what I mean? But all of that kind of stuff matters. Yeah.
Wait a minute, Pharaoh. What you just said is we have to ask for help. We cannot be in denial, thinking that we don't need help and we can do it.
Yeah.
That's right.
So when we say, Session and I talk about that all the time. I need help, and don't let me get away with it. That's accountability.
That's right.
No, okay, I see you. You ain't right. Let's get this together. But we have to be accepting and receiving it in love.
Yeah.
We cannot become defensive because it's coming from a wonderful place of love. We have to be in a position to say, "Ooh, okay, I know I'm wrong. Help me to get to that place of sanity and peace." Because
what I hear Dr. Chalice talking about is vulnerability.
That's exactly what it is. That is the name of the word. That is the word.
That's it.
And you can't do that until you're healed. You can't put your stuff out there until you heal. That's why I know.
Can I say something about the healing? See, because I see healing on a continuum, Dr. Wallace. Right? I see it on a continuum, because there are places in my life that I'm still not 100% completely healed. And I don't believe that I will be until Jesus comes back.
That's
I'm holding up both my hands. Yeah. Me too.
So not necessarily, yes, we must be healing, I think. Healing. And we have to allow ourselves the freedom to be vulnerable, and that means getting rid of this white supremacist ideology of perfectionism.
Hallelujah! Oh, somebody pass offering plate.
And we gotta be perfect. Y'all see how I came on here today, right? Like no lipstick, no makeup.
And you cute.
You beautiful.
You're cute.
cut
Not
up
you cute.
t-shirt.
I say you cute.
But you know, it's
Beautiful.
this idea of having to show up a certain way.
Right.
All the time.
All the
So
time.
we have to let go
Awesome.
if we want to thrive, right?
If
And if
we
we want to
wanna
have those relationships and those partnerships and those collaborations, it takes a certain amount of spiritual maturity.
It does.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Open to receive.
So what Dr.
Absolutely.
Question says, I concur, because right now, y'all, I don't want to be in close relationship with people who are not on a healing journey, because
That's it.
it's dangerous.
because it's dangerous.
That's right.
When folks are, when you're on a healing journey and your community is not, it can become really toxic.
Yes.
You as the
Yes.
person that's on the healing journey.
Yes.
Most
Thank
of you
you
know
for
my
that.
grandmother. She passed away in December. I'm in the middle of grief and transition. I'm on a healing journey, and managing my emotions are a full-time job. At least I smack a pigeon or a cat or something. Y'all are praying for me. Listen, because it can bust loose at any given moment when you are feeling raw and sorrowful, and then joy. Like, you can have a change of emotions in one day that 3-4 times a day that can be overwhelming. You need to go take a nap now because you're emotionally tired. And listen, and that's okay. So when we talk about healing journeys, Dr. Childs, when you mention about asking for help, remember to let us all be in conversation about not letting your emotions in the spaces that you're in, that you're not healing, affect you, right? Control your jealousies and your envies when your sisters and your brothers show up in their gifting. Don't ask Dr. Burns to do something for you and then be mad because she can do it and you can't, because that's just ignorance.
Ignorant.
Oh,
Not ignorant.
Y'all,
Ignorant.
this is so amazing. Can I say something else? See, in order to manage our emotions, we need to understand them.
We need come on.
You got to be you got to connect with your emotions. So many people are so disconnected from their feelings. They don't even know what they are feeling. They can't name it.
Yes, for so long.
Come see me. That's what I do. Help you name your feelings.
Exactly.
For too long.
The other part of that is pride. It's because when we find ourselves in a position of leadership, leaders dread to be vulnerable because they feel like it takes away from who they really are.
Right.
And so they don't want to be transparent. They don't want to be honest and say, you know, I'm struggling too. Somebody needs to recognize that they're dealing with the enemy.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, Dr. Wright.
That's powerful, right?
You got to deal with all of that. All of that. And while you're looking out here and pointing your fingers at other folks, let's deal with you. Who are you when you're by yourself?
Well, there's that.
When you with God alone, are you that same anointed fireball, the fire and brimstone preaching, tongue talking woman of God, man of God, or are you broken and saying, God, I need you to heal me?
Yeah.
It's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. I remember years ago, I went to the altar and I was just crying out to God. And after service, this young lady came, she said, that's why I just love you so much. And I said, man, she said, that's why I just love you so much. You just go to the altar and you cry out and you pray for the people. And I looked at her and said, baby, I was praying for me. I'm trying to get me together.
Auntie.
You got something going on because I was something for me.
It's like heal thyself.
Absolutely.
Lay hands on your own self.
Exactly. And you have to be honest enough to say, I've been real ugly today, or I'm about to go there. Because what we forget is this, and I say so many times, God saved me from something. Don't try to find out what it was. God, how to stop cussing. I haven't forgotten how to, well, I ain't going to tell you everything.
I'm still there. I don't want to get rid of that. I
haven't forgotten those things. But because of whose I am and who I serve and who I love, I choose not to do those things anymore.
I'm so glad.
Robin,
you make space for me to be able to.
Well,
when other folks can't cuss, y'all
cut them low. Cut them low because I know how to do that.
Listen, Dr. Wallace, you know, I get real touchy when folk bother some of my folks. So I still have a cussing
Yes, she does.
on occasion.
Yes, she does.
Don't come for none of mine, son. I'm from the Bronx. And I will cuss you.
Oh no, you're not from the Bronx. I'm from
and the women that I say they better not touch, they better not mess with, and let me know it. Okay.
I'm grateful.
You're not from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Kelly, when I first moved to New York, I was in the South Bronx.
Really?
And then I moved to Manhattan, uptown, Dyckman Projects, girl.
I know what Dyckman Projects is at. My sister's from Dyckman Projects, and I used to.
Wait. Is Shalane Simpson?
No, Genevieve Davis.
Who?
Genevieve Davis.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, ladies,
No, not yet,
know,
Bird. Not yet.
y'all know I'm the spoiler. I
Not
still
yet.
hate for us to end this time together.
Not
but
yet.
Wow, it's been awesome.
It's been so good.
Thank y'all for letting me come
I
on.
think Dr. White Hat was on to something. We need to do this at least once a quarter.
She
So,
said,
I was decent.
So I want to thank all my sisters and what we call our part 2 of celebrating our anniversary time on together. And so thank you, Dr. Session and Dr. Farrell, for jumping in. Attorney Robinson, we sent you a link as well, but you didn't want to be a part of it. So we you know, so but no.
She said she was driving. She was driving and couldn't do it.
We want her to arrive alive.
No, but we thank you for being live in the chat for us, and all of you all for hanging in there with us on today. You know, we went a little bit extra, but what we talked about really matters to us, and we hope that in our sharing what matters to us, that it's been a blessing to you all. And so until we have an opportunity again, same time next week,
same place. See you next week. Wait a minute.
Jerome,
Right?
Who's gonna be with us next week?
Right?
Our guest is retired Air Force Major Teresa Ratliff. Phenomenal woman of God. She is a retired Air Force Major, and she owns. She's a business owner. She has done some things that are so powerful, and you won't want to miss hearing her speak. All right.
All right.
Okay.
We love you all.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Just love.